Hey guys and gals, Pat over here at Fellsmere Fishing Headquarters, beautiful downtown Fellsmere. Hey, real quick, we want to do a quick fishing report. We put one out yesterday with the clients and all. Captain Cecil, Captain Steve, and Captain Kevin went out. Took these guys out for 4 days, absolutely wrecked them. I mean, caught a lot of fish. And the guys had a chance to kind of share with you a little bit with what they were doing. I think they're going to elaborate a little bit more today real quick, because I did get a couple questions this morning from a few guys. They didn't quite understand what Captain Steve was saying. He's here to clear that up. And also, most importantly, we wanted to introduce Captain Dan. Most guys know Captain Dan. This is Captain Dan Lally, a very close friend of mine, has been for a long time. He's actually part of the team now at FL Big Bass Adventures. We're really proud to have him. Super excited. Captain Steve's really excited. As Mike.
I'm more excited than I think Pat is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just his presence. Me and him, we're best buddies, and so and his dad is my best friend, and he's a great man. He's a great husband. He's a great father. He's a great fisherman. But in addition to the fishing. And not just bass fishing. Dan is probably one of the best crappie fishermen next to Steve. Well,
I will reverse that.
Yeah,
for you.
I should literally rephrase that.
Yeah.
Dan is the best crappie fisherman, and Steve is right close second.
And I will say this just real quick, Pat. Not to interrupt you. I thought I was okay, and then I met this guy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the beauty of it is Dan is born and raised down here. I mean, he's fished all the lakes, Okeechobee, all these lakes around here his entire life, and so he's versatile. Not to mention the hunting. Dan also offers duck hunting, which is coming up, guys, and it's a big deal around here because we're really getting a lot of ducks. And Dan, I was just talking to Dan a while ago. They're already moving in, so I'll let Dan talk about that. But anyway, wanted to say that here at Fellsmere Fishing Headquarters, we're just really excited about it. Again, part of the A team. I mean, the team that we have here is unbelievable at FL Big Bass Adventures. The best, nothing but the best. And it just got better, and I didn't think that could happen. But anyway, I'm going to let Captain Steve take it from here and let him talk about it a little bit.
So, Dan's just recently unaffiliated, and we all kind of got together and saw an opportunity. And I've always respected Dan as a person and a fisherman, and I am very happy to have him here with us. Honestly, I thought the entire time this is where he belonged. And I think that it's going to be good for everyone, especially the clients coming in to fish with us. If I was going to hire a guide, it would be the guides that sit in this building right here.
Oh, for sure.
And do these videos. There's no doubt about it. So, I can't say anything more about it other than we're just super happy to have you, Dan.
Super happy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah.
Super happy.
Appreciate it. Patsy?
And the man,
Right.
Cecil, can you share a little bit about some of these fish that you were wrecking on yesterday?
Yeah, they were all basically coming up schooling. We actually had a kind of a slow start. A couple of the holes we hit to, we'd catch 3 or 4 and they shut down. And then we moved spots and noticed them come up busting shad and stuff, and we just wrecked it. We caught like 30 an hour, had a couple big fish on, and they're hitting, they're just chasing shad and everything. So it's all wind-blown points. Everywhere we just kind of moved around to any wind-blown point. Eventually you're going to land on them and you'll wreck them. Nice. And the shiners, obviously help a little bit. Live bait, they don't turn down, but when I first got down here, I was going out throwing spinner baits and top water and the same type stuff, and I was catching fish. The day I got down here, I think I caught 24 in like 3.5 hours, because I come back and he's like, "You got them already?" I'm like, "I got it." They're eating, dude.
Yeah.
It's not hard to figure out right now.
Yeah.
Just if you don't have the wind, you want some current. You need something to keep the balls, the bait, going together, and then the bass are just feeding up, getting ready.
Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Same thing was going on to Ed Garcia, and that's how we found him as well. So, a lot of the guys were struggling with artificial, and that was the next thing I was going to talk to you guys about. I know that you guys had epic 4 days in a row it was all live bait, all wild shiners.
Yes.
And that's great. Now, however, we've got so many guys that are artificial, and they're calling like crazy, man. Where are these guys fishing at? And you know, we're artificial. Can we do the same thing? And so, you got to tell them.
So
if you were to go and
Yeah.
and try to, you know, I had an artificial trip.
yes.
What would we do?
So for me, on that aspect of it, you know, Dan and I were talking earlier. You know, we were talking about moving baits. You know, we're talking about the rattle trap, the chatterbaits, stuff like that. Dan made a good point, which I totally agree with 100%. It's all about the cadence of moving that bait, and you need to experiment with that a little bit. Is it a fast cadence? Is it a reel and stop? Is it a yo-yo? You know, you have to mess with these things.
Until you get bit.
Yes. Now, the locations using these things, I'm finding fish now on flats where they have not been there.
Right.
They're showing up on flats now. If you can find, the water's high right now, so a lot of the grass you can't see, you got to fish through it until you start pulling into some grass with those baits. But I'm finding fish on flats where they have not been. And the whole shiner bite thing that we just went through, I found a lot of fish on these flats, and I guarantee you take a trap or a chatterbait through there, they're going to chew it. There's no doubt in my mind. The flats that I'm talking about is any type of a pinch point. You know, you got two reed heads, you got a pinch point in there. Fish it, see if you can pull up some grass, stuff like that. You know, you get a flat can be the size, can be 5 by 5,
Right.
and hold a bunch of fish, or it can be as big as this building. As long as it's got some grass on it, you got an opportunity to catch some fish. But the hurricane has moved a lot of stuff around, and which has exposed a lot of areas too that we've not been able to fish in a long time.
Right.
And there's grass in some of those places, and we found some of that. And if you're out hunting and stuff like that, you need to hunt up areas like that, and I think that will help you, you know, catch a lot more fish.
Right.
Yeah, the day I was out, anywhere I found eelgrass next to the hydrilla, it was automatic. It was like you could just, you're like, ooh, I'm gonna catch one here, throw my spinnerbait, just inhale it, you know. And some of those areas are easier to fish artificially than live bait.
Right.
You know, your shiner wants to run up there and tangle and hide
Yeah.
and all that, where you can control where that spinnerbait goes, and you know, some of that stuff's a lot easier to fish like, you know, that way.
What are you seeing, Dan?
So for me, the last couple of weeks, been doing a lot more speck fishing here recently. Speck bite's been really good. I've been fishing Garcia a lot. The two colors right here, the St. John Special, solid chartreuse with that flash tail, and then obviously the pink head blue wrap cocaine. Nothing's changed since 1976. That cocaine is what they want. That's been the best jig for the last couple of years. Wind. If you're gonna go speck fish, the wind is the most important thing right now. Right now, they're not biting jigging. You can catch a few jigging in the grass, but casting and pulling, where you let the wind pull the boat and you kind of just pull the jig. Want to keep the jig about 5-6 feet behind the boat. That seems to be the magic number when you're up in the front of the trolling motor. Let the wind pull you. I've been putting my trolling motor on like 1 or 2, depending on how fast the wind is, just to kind of control it, to keep it on those grass lines in the zigzag.
Yes.
That's where I've been fishing in Garcias in the zigzag. And just pull it forward, and then give your rod back. You'll feel the bite every time. They'll hit it, bam, you just kind of set up on them. Good specs. Been doing a lot of casting. When you cast your spec jig, I've been using a 7-foot rod. I know you use a 6 or 6.5. I like a 7-foot rod, a little bit more control. Been worm fishing my jig. I think you can cast a little further with a longer rod on the smaller jig. And the secret is when you cast it out, don't start working it. Click your bail, give it a second. You can count to 3 or 4, about a foot for every number. Let it fall a little bit, let it get down to where that grass is, and then worm fish it. Lift up your rod tip real slow, and all you're doing is pulling that jig back to you. You will feel the bite. If it's a speck or a bass, you'll feel tap, you know, pound, you'll feel that hammer.
Right.
You can set the hook. A brim, and the brim will hit the jig.
Yes.
They're like a piranha. You'll feel and then you lift up and there'll be nothing there. That's a brim. And it happens pretty much every cast. You'll feel and just keep pulling it back, and then the speck or the bass will hit it. I'm catching a lot of bass on the jigs in the last couple weeks. Just had a speck trip the other day. Went through a half a pound of minnows in like 3.5 hours. That's pretty good for being this early.
yeah.
Very early.
Really good.
Bass wise, obviously shiners are king. The big fish are starting to bite at headwaters. I've been searching. Everybody that's known me from before knows that this is rattle trap season. Rattle trap and a chatterbait, I think, are the best search baits. I even throw the rattle trap in the summer in the grass, if you know how to work it. The key is rhythm. You got to know the hum of the rattle trap and that vibration of the chatterbait. And if that rattle trap's not humming, and you could see your line at the water doing that, same with the chatterbait. The chatterbait does it a lot more because it chatters.
Right.
But when you're running that rattle trap, if that line's not humming like that, and you can't feel the hum of the rattle trap, you're not working the rattle trap right. You're going to get way less bites
Good point.
on the
Great
rattle
point.
trap. And don't be afraid to slow it a little bit to get caught in the hydrilla, and keep reeling it and rip it. And when you rip it off the hydrilla, yes, you're going to have slack. It doesn't matter. The bass is going to grab it as soon as you rip it off the grass. So by the time you catch up to it and start reeling, he's tugging. You just set the hook. That's a key thing when you're fishing, especially in the grass flats. So don't be afraid when you start throwing your rattle trap or your chatterbait. If the chatterbait's in the grass, it stops chattering. Like instantly. Even a little tiny 1/4-inch piece of grass will stop the chatterbait. You'll know that you're in the grass. Slam it. Give it that hard rip and keep reeling it. That's when the bass bite it. The rattle traps are hard to beat right now.
Yeah.
My favorite color is chrome. White has been working too to kind of mimic the shad.
You like the chrome blueback too?
I like the chrome any back. Blueback is my favorite,
I was
but
throwing
it's
a black back,
chrome.
catching them.
And I think the chrome in Florida has more flash because we have so much sun. So I like the more flash. It's kind of like a spinnerbait blade. It just kind of shows more flash.
Yeah. Do you prefer the 1/2 ounce? I mean, what rips through the grass better?
I use a 1/2 ounce, and I like the original rattle trap.
Yeah.
I've tried them all. The original rattle trap, chrome, blue, or black, or just chrome. I like the blue, but the chrome for me is the most
Even that
important.
chartreuse back was working for me the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's got their
their
favorite.
black back.
It's a confidence thing. If you're
Absolutely.
You know, I have clients that come down and, you know, we're catching them on this and this, and they've never done it before. They don't have confidence, and they know how to work a speed worm or a Cinco, or, you know, confidence is king when you're fishing.
Yes.
So even when you go with a guide, sometimes if you're not familiar with the bait that we're using, or, you know, whatever, there's nothing wrong with going back to old standards. The Cinco, you know, the June bug, JB Blue, that's like my color. That's been my color for the last few years. I know Gambler came out with it. I think Bass Assassin has
Yeah,
has
they
it
do.
now, and the
Some
Speed
people
Worm.
have.
Yes, sir.
I'm a June bug blue.
Me too.
That's like that's my color.
Yeah, that's kind of a staple for Florida
Yeah,
fish.
for Florida. You know, I know a lot of people like the black and blue.
Yeah.
I'm going with June bug every time.
So duck season's coming up. What's going on with that?
So yes, I'm kind of the all-around guide. I do a lot of duck guiding, guided for ducks for years. It's almost pushing 20 years now that I've been doing the duck guiding. I've chased them from here to New York to all over the place. I love chasing feathers. The ducks, honestly, they're here. They're moving in.
There's a ton of them out
It's
there right
awesome. Very early. Duck season opens November 23rd, goes until December 1st on Sunday, and then it closes Monday through Friday. Reopens December 7th and goes until January 26th. I think it's the last Sunday is when it closes. If you guys are looking to go duck hunting and you've never been before, offer a couple of different hunts. I offer a guided hunt. You bring your gun, your shells. I also offer a fully outfitted hunt where you just come and get in the boat. I've got the guns, the bullets. I've got everything. All you'll need is your hunting license. I have, you know, new automatic Stoker shotguns that the clients get to use. They're, you know,
Beautiful.
top of the line. It's Beretta, Benelli, you know, they're great guns. Duck hunting is fun. If you like to deer hunt, or, you know, you sit for a long time and you don't see anything, when you go duck hunting,
You're
I
shooting.
promise you're going to pull the trigger.
That's what you told me the other day.
Yeah,
If
it's
you want to
awesome.
duck hunt, you're just going to be shooting.
So last year I didn't get to do as many duck trips because of the bass fishing, but this year I want to concentrate a little bit more on the ducks.
Speaking of the devil,
Duck, right.
Last year it literally took longer to set the decoys than it did to shoot a 4-man limit. They were
Really?
were coming in 30, 40 at a time.
that's amazing.
Cupped up, you know. I want to try to get some videos so you guys can put out this year. Opening weekend is already booked, so November 23rd and 24th are already booked. Anybody that's looking to do a duck hunt on headwaters, I want to tell you right now, there's a special season there. You can only duck hunt on Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. I do have the Wednesday before Thanksgiving open to do a duck hunt, and that's one day at headwaters. However, Headwaters is just one spot. We also have TM Goodwin, which has the Goodwin block and the Broadmoor block. That's a specialty hunt. You have to have a permit to hunt in there. I have a permit for December 21st. If anybody's looking to go into the duck sanctuary, it's for Goodwin. We'll do the walking blocks. It's a puddle duck hunt. That's where you'll get into the teal. They have a lot of blue and green winged teal. You'll maybe have a shot at a pintail widgeon. They've had a lot of widgeon in the last couple of years up in there. They're very pretty birds. So if you're looking for maybe a mounter, that might be a hunt.
Nice.
Puddle duck hunt. But we hunt all over. There's the McCarty block, there's the East Marsh, there's Kenansville, there's Three Forks, there's Satori's. That's on the opposite side of where the duck sanctuary is. Last year I hunted Kenansville quite a bit. It was quiet. There's, the normal were out there, but there was birds everywhere last year and the year before. I don't think it really matters. Obviously when we do a hunt, we're gonna go to whatever gives us the best chance for the most birds.
Right.
But you can pretty much hunt all over. And then in the summertime when everything slows down, I do offer alligator hunts. Same thing. Your tag, all my equipment, or I can supply the tags if tags are available. It seems that you got to be out of state to get a tag nowadays.
Right.
But we put in every year, and last year we had tags. I'm sure we'll get some again this year. So if you're interested in doing an alligator hunt, that's something that we can do too. The season opens August 15th every year. They have 4 weeks. There's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then after that, there's a month for everybody to, fill the rest of their tags. And that closes I think it's the last day in October, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, but that's all by permit, and that's first come, first serve. Obviously, when that gets closer, we'll put out a video and let you know that we got got tags or how many tags we got, and then it'll be a first come, first serve. Those do go fast too.
Good.
That's awesome, dude. That is friggin'
Great.
awesome.
So, but I'm really looking forward to the duck hunt this year. The duck hunt just already, it's
Yeah.
just now the 1st of November, and I'm telling you, there's a couple thousand birds sitting out there, like right now.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. I'm really ready to go.
No,
It's gonna be
yeah.
awesome.
One quick thing I wanted to mention real quick on the bass fishing side. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, if you're going to be fishing here in the next 2 to 3 weeks to a month or so, these fish are feeding on small baits right now too, especially if you're running like a topwater or something like that. The other day I caught some good quality fish on the east side in the openings of the hydrilla on an old school little 3-inch spitting image. I was throwing a big spook out there, they wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't even blow up on it, and then I saw them blow up on some little bait. And it looked almost like glass minnows that they were blowing up on.
Right, yeah, they're real small.
Yeah, and so I put that little bait on, I started catching them. So, when you're out here, if you see that going on and they're feeding on this smaller bait, put on smaller baits. Just try to match the hatch as much as possible.
Right.
Did you, you said somebody had a couple questions about the last video that you wanted to clear up?
No. Yeah, they were just kind of asking about areas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you just mentioned the east side, and so and I think what Captain Stevens, because he told me where he was at, he's referring to the northeast side. So when you're coming, you leave the boat ramp and you're going south, it's the first cut on the left, because all that back up in there is wide open now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of top-down vegetation and a few islands or whatever, but there's channels that go all through there, and you can literally go all the way to the north shore.
Yes.
And so
I wouldn't suggest running it back through there.
Yeah, come
if
off
you're
a plane.
Yes, because there are some palm tree stumps and stuff back there.
Right.
So just take your time, because when you initially pull in there's a lot of vegetation. You can initially blow through that initial part just to get past it, but right after that, shut it down, get on your trolling motor, and just take your time back through there. There's a ton of fish back there. They've not been fished for real hard because before the hurricane came through, you couldn't even hardly get there.
Yeah, there's the one channel.
Yes.
Yeah, so just because you see us go flying down through there, we're GPS. We're there every
That's right.
day. We
That's
run
right.
those trails.
Yes.
So if you decide to barrel off in there behind us, just make sure you stay behind us, because if you don't, you're gonna pay the price.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much, that was the one main thing. And Cecil hit on a couple of good ideas with this wind, because that's another thing the guys were, they're a little leery of going out there because the wind has been so strong.
Oh man.
And it's like Captain Cecil said, kind of use the wind as your friend.
Yes.
And,
Right
and,
now it
and
is.
take advantage of it.
Yep.
Them windy points, it's creating current, it's pushing bait in there. And so, Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah, the wind right now is very important, especially for the specs. I won't lie, you know, the day that there's no wind and it's slick calm,
Tough.
maybe 2 or 3 specs. It's just not happening.
Right.
Bass fishing, you know, on calm waters, if you're shiner fishing, you know, it's candy land. You're gonna catch fish with shiners. The artificial bite, honestly, in headwaters for me has been slower the last 10 days or so.
Agreed.
We're really catching really good fish on top water. Smaller baits, we're just not catching the number. The size is getting better. That's that
Right.
wintertime bite. The females
Yes.
are starting to bite, and the fish are starting to school. But the windier it is, and you think, oh, it's too windy to go, you got power poles, you got spot lock, go, because the bite is on fire.
Yes, 100%.
And the whopper plopper, on the windy days and you're having trouble, throw a plopper. Because I promise you will catch good fish on a plopper or a spook. You're just not gonna catch, you know, the numbers. You're not gonna go out and catch 50, but you're
Now,
gonna catch some good ones.
now you and I were talking about the plopper.
Yeah, there's a secret to it.
There is.
So the secret to the plopper is right now, don't throw it out and reel it back. You know what I mean, to where it's blah, 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 blah. You wanna throw it out, let it hit the water. If it's calmer to where you can see the ripples, let the ripples get away from it and pull it. Pull it a foot, 13 inches, and stop it. Take a bite of a sandwich, take a drink, light a cigarette, cigar, whatever.
Yep.
Let it sit, and then pull it again. Just a foot. You're only gonna pull it that much. You just want it to go blip, 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 and stop it. And I promise you, within those 2 or 3 pulls, you're gonna get bit.
Yeah, if
That's
you're
the
around
secret.
fish, they're gonna eat it. Because when we talked about this today, we've been catching them like that.
Yeah,
100%.
me too. That's
Yes.
how I fish it.
Yes.
Yeah, I never almost
Nothing
go
goes
out
on.
and burn it in.
No secrets go unhidden. That's definitely
And when you're around hydrilla and you got little sprigs that are just sticking up out of the water, you can fish that bait through there just like that because you're ripping it and ripping it and ripping it.
Right.
You know.
And there's some topped out hydrilla still out there, nowhere near what it used to be. But there's some in the middle, there's some up on the north, there's some down south. If you're, and you know, if you can fish, don't be afraid to throw the spook, the plopper, you know, your favorite bait, whatever, a torpedo, anything you want into the hydrilla. I do it all the time. I use short shank hooks, and that's where a lot of the bigger fish that we come from on top water come from, because we do stuff that most people don't do. Don't be afraid to throw it in the grass. You might throw it into a 3-foot hole. That's all that's there, and the rest of it's topped out.
Yep.
Throw the spook, throw a torpedo, throw a frog,
Yeah.
throw a fluke.
Yeah.
Throw, you know, just work that hole, because I'm telling you, those big fish are in those holes in that grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that from Cecil.
Yeah.
Cecil, he don't care.
So hey everybody, come see us, Fellsmere Fishing HQ, right here where we're sitting. Come fish with us. You know, if you want to hire a guide. Come see us. We'll take care of you.
Man to man.
You know, if you got 5 days off, you don't want to spend the first 2 or 3 looking for them. Give us a shot. 1 day, short trip. We can put you at least in the areas where you need to be.
For sure.
Pat?
Guys, thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. We're gonna keep cranking some more of these reports out. These guys are gonna continue letting y'all know what they're doing and keeping a track on these fish, and give you all the heads up for sure. We know a lot of folks coming down from up north, and yeah, we got a new member of the team, and super knowledgeable, born and raised here type of guy, and one of the 365 boys. So
That's it. Every day doing something. Let's go duck hunting, guys.
let's go.
I'm ready.
Thank y'all.